had some baked potatoes, at least sweet potatoes, and tried to figure out how to make a really great meal with them. Lots of different things you can do, but if you want to have a gluten-free pizza crust or a flatbread crust, super easy, just a couple ingredients. You can take your already cooked 2 sweet potatoes and break them up with a fork. Just kind of mix them around. I bake these. I have one to eat because I have a leftover one, and this is the time of year. It feels so good to have those kind of foods, those nice warming foods. Lots of beta carotene and everything else in these. These are actually yams. Sweet potatoes are actually white flesh, and so yam is more of the orange one. So you can use either one. Just break it all up. And I got a little bit of the brown stuff in there from roasting them, which is great. And I'm gonna add 2 cups of oat flour in there. And that's the one that I choose to use. So we're just gonna put a little bit of 2 cups of the oat flour in there. Break it up a little bit. I use the Bob's Red Mill. There's all kinds of different ones that you can use if you want to use oat flour. I would imagine you can use other flours as well, sorghum flour, some of those other ones too. You're just going to mix all that and make a nice dough, and you can use your hands to mix it all together. You're going to put in some spices too, because it can be pretty bland if you don't add some salt, some pepper, some other types of herbs and things like that in there. So I'm going to actually, since I'm making a pizza crust, I'm going to add some basil, some dried basil in there, about a teaspoon of that. I'm just gonna throw it in there, and that's about a teaspoon there. Dump it all in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Trader Joe's Green Goddess that has some chives and things like that. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on there. I'm not even measuring it out. I'm just gonna eye it, taste it. That's a really great way to do that. And there's some garlic powder. And I'm just gonna mix that around. Use my hands. My hands are clean. I'm just gonna mix it all in there into a nice dough. This is a great way to do that. Mix it in there. If it finds that it's too wet, then add a little bit more of your flour, right? And then all we're gonna do, we turn the oven on 400, and we can taste the dough and make sure it tastes salty enough or that it's exactly the way you want it. We're gonna roll it out, and I'll show you that in just a second. I just wanna mix that in there. Doesn't take very long to do. This is a great way to just have some of those different flours on hand, those gluten-free flours. And I really like the oat in there, but some people don't like oat, so you can use something else. So just mix it in, get it all over me, probably put an apron on next time so you don't get it on your clothes. Especially when you're baking and doing things, you can just use your hands to mix this around. There you go, it's starting to form into a little dough. I'm just trying to get all of that oat flour up. Just keep turning it over. Knead it, turn it over, pick up the rest, and just move the bowl around. And we're gonna have a nice little dough. This can actually make 2 different little pizzas, this recipe here. So if you wanna cut it in half, you can do that as well. But it's nice to make 2 different ones. You can actually save the dough. I don't know if you can freeze it. I would probably just use it fresh. Okay, here we go. Just gonna move it aside. Here we have parchment paper. Drop your fork. And I'm just gonna split that in half. Good. Put in a nice little ball. And one of the best ways to roll it out too is you can go ahead and put a parchment piece of paper on the top of it. Press it out if you'd like to. That way it doesn't stick to something, right? And you can take your roller. Where's my roller? I just used it for something else. So I'm just gonna do that, press it out, get it to the consistency that I want. I will find my roller. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you what that looks like and bake it. Okay, roll that sweet potato and oat flour crust out. I use my rolling pin. I put a piece of parchment paper over the top so it doesn't stick to it. We're ready to put it in the oven, and then we can put the toppings on it. So we're just gonna bake it for about 15 minutes. Sweet potato and oat flour crust. And we put that in for about 15 minutes on about 400, and it's a little crispy on the outside. So we're gonna go ahead and put some toppings on it and put it back in so that we can crisp it up a little bit more. I do still have my soy chorizo that I made, so I'm gonna put some of that on here. And I could put some type of olive oil on it if I want to. I'm just gonna pop this right on top, a little bit of this. So what do you have? What do you wanna put on your pizza? Whatever toppings you have, this is a great way to just kind of decide and put it on there. I just have a lot of this, so I'm just gonna add that on there. A little bit of that. And then I still have some of my roasted peppers. I had bell peppers that I roasted because they were, you know, getting to the point where I needed to use more of them up. Had them for a big event and they were extra. I had that with carrots too, and I did some cumin carrots. I already ate all those. But I'm just gonna put some of these peppers on there as well. I'm gonna throw on a little bit of my seasoning, my green goddess. I'm just gonna make sure I have a lot of seasoning. I put a lot in the crust as well. Then a little bit of basil. If I want to put some basil in there, it might be a little different on having the chorizo, but hey, why not? Let's try it. And then I'm going to put some of my Follow Your Heart mozzarella shredded cheese on there. I have some of that left over from one of my pizza classes that I did. And it's still good. It's been in the refrigerator. So the thing about gluten-free crusts, a lot of times they're chewy. So some of you have made some of them, I think even in my class, they were wound up being a little bit chewy. You have to really roll it out as thin as you can. That's one tip. I'll be trying to make some other ones to see if I can get them less chewy. But even this is gonna be a little different than a regular pizza dough. But it's still gonna be a great way to have something on, something besides a regular flour pizza. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in the oven and I'll let you know how that looks when it's done. This sweet potato crust, this is the pizza. And I had put in a little bit of that soy chorizo on there that I made, a little bit of vegan mozzarella, a little bit of peppers and things like that on there. And it slides right off on the parchment paper, right onto the cutting board, maybe. Take it right off of that. And sticking a little bit. That's because the parchment paper is a little bit folded up. And put that on there. There we go. Get rid of the parchment paper. We have the pizza cutter, and then we can cut that. Again, it's going to be a little bit different than a normal pizza. This is a great option for you to make a little bit of a different type of gluten-free flatbread. Easy to make. You know, just have to have some sweet potatoes cooked up and some other flour like oat flour, and there you go. You got your pizza. It's hot. There you go. So enjoy. If you have any questions, let me know.